constantly improve products. Oh, look, we're recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Episode 9, we're making it. We're making it large now, that's it.
We made the big time, guys.
We've made the big time. We're over 100 followers. Yay! We're actually on 111. Bilbo's birthday. Bilbo's age. Yeah, so welcome. Hello, Liam, Jack. You all right, guys?
Yeah.
Hello.
No. Have you been busy doing much? It does seem like a long time, actually.
It is a long time.
It isn't. Liam makes out like we record every like 50 weeks or something.
It's been nearly a
not
month.
been that long.
Nearly a month. We've done really well every 2 weeks without fail.
Yeah, unfortunately, real life gets
we've been busy, boys.
Yeah, we have been busy, boys, which we will get into because we've got quite a bumper episode today. We've got lots going on. Right, should we start the news?
Let's dive in.
Let's start the news. Right. Oh, that's me. That's my cue. Sorry. I'll add you to the stage. There we go. Big summer preview. Did anyone actually manage to watch the actual show? Or
Nah.
Bits and bobs.
I knew that would be 1,000 Facebook posts and WhatsApp messages.
Was there a 40k event on as well?
God knows.
Oh, yeah. Because every time I went onto Twitch to watch it, I ended up watching some open war like GW event.
Yeah, I think I saw someone post a picture of like they were watching it and then suddenly it's just some guys.
Yeah, that's right. He kept jumping over. I was like, "What's going on here?" So I left it in the end and then just obviously caught up after. So yeah, some big news. In fact, across all of the GW stuff, I've actually had my eye on a couple of things. I know it's not made this slide, but I actually like some of the 40k chapter master models. Just to paint. Don't worry, I'm not playing 40k.
That Raven Guard.
Yes, that is one of the best models they've ever done. It is stunning. I quite like the Khan on the bike as well.
Also cool.
Yeah.
You know me, I avoid anything that's not fancy, like it's the plague, so I'm just going to nod along and pretend I know what you're talking about.
I do have an issue with it.
Well,
I do have an issue with it though. So I think they put it out as Combat Patrol. You can now play Chapter Masters in Combat Patrol. You can only buy a Combat Patrol with one of the characters, and that's the White Scars guy. The rest are all going to be individuals. So you'd expect them to come out in their own boxes with the Combat Patrol, but they don't. So, which was a bit annoying, but hey. Actually, looking at this background, there's a few things on here, isn't there? Obviously, we can see the Chaos Dwarf, the top left. What I'm a bit confused by the one on the top right.
Wood elfy looking one.
Yeah,
it's the ones from the Underworlds.
Oh, of course, yeah, the centaur type guys.
Yeah,
cool. And then obviously we have the Tomb King guy down there in the middle to left, don't we?
Yeah. Should we take a better look at some of the models?
Let's do it. Yeah. Because I'm gonna reserve judgment. I'll let you two talk about this.
I like the Taurus.
Oh, you've got one.
I like the Taurus. I've got a Chaos Dwarf army, and I've got, you can't really see it, but I've got a Lamasob behind me and a Taurus somewhere. Which, obviously they're very much flesh and bone, bull looking things with like actual, dragony wings, whereas this like sort of fits like the old Kadai type sort of dynamic. It's, I think it fits nicely in with the sort of industrial feeling of the Chaos Dwarves. I think it's quite cool. Like it's these are things that are sort of making made enchanted sort of constructs rather than mythical beasts. So I think they're quite cool. I think the guy on top looks good in that picture at least. I like it. I'll probably pick one up for my Chaos Dwarf army.
It's very much Warhammer meets World of Warcraft for me. But as a big WoW stamp, then great. It's exactly reaching out to me and saying, please consider buying a Legacy army from Games Workshop, which I know what I do.
I think this is one of the reasons I'm not a fan, though. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I do or don't like them. They look. I mean, they're always going to look stunning models because they're all brand new. They're brand new models, aren't they? So, but I don't know. I don't know if they're too AOS. I know they are AOS models, but yeah,
I think
I like the older ones.
Yeah, like I've got the Forge World ones as my sort of army.
Yeah.
And I think those sort of guys on the right, you could quite easily do some sort of nice, easy head swaps. So I think the body, like I think everything from the sort of neck down is awesome on those. I guess it'll just depend on sizings and posings, but I'm sure well, I guess they're only on 25mm bases for
I was
old
trying to
world.
work it out. I think they're probably going to be on 28.5.
Yeah, they'd be 28.5
So
now.
it's
Yeah.
So like they're just
rounds.
so they might squeeze on if you proportion them well and that sort of stuff. But I think I quite like them. They're sort of a bit of an homage to the big hats, but have gone just taking a bit of their own sort of AOSE direction.
Be interesting to see how they scale up to the newer dwarf plastic stuff as well. See if people like convert them into actual mounting holds. Yeah, like swap the heads around and stuff like that. That'd be interesting to see. Because they could probably then absolutely do what, like you've just said, Jack, do a head swap, and you've got your kind of your Forge World type.
Yeah. How do AOS models tend to compare price wise to the old world models?
Oh, they'll be
about
probably double. Yeah.
Double. Yeah. So I guess at that point, if you've got dwarfs available, you buy the dwarfs, right? Even with the dwarven holes ones, a simple head swap on those, and you could make them chaos dwarfy.
Yeah, usually it's about, I think it's about £35 to £40 for 10 models for like a unit. Whereas obviously in AOS you get, in Old World you get 20 to 40 models. I mean, I know you can buy some in tens, but they're like 20 quid. So it's but I get it. Obviously they've got to pay for the sculpts and stuff, haven't they? And they're brand new models, so yeah, I get that part of it. I'm just not. I mean,
excited to see them in person.
Yeah. I mean, the battle box looks quite nice. To be fair, you get like you get like a mortar, don't you? You get like 20 of these dudes, and then 5 of the
quite cool. So,
yeah, have we got this on the slide?
The centaurs look really good as well.
Right.
The centaurs look very similar scale to the old Forge World ones as well.
Because they're quite chunky, aren't they?
Yeah, so it'd be. I mean, the heads. Yeah, I'm not so keen on the heads on some of the centaurs. But
I think you do
probably
like
not quite easy to do head swaps with.
They've got their kit builds 2 types.
Yeah,
I think you do
types,
like their body with the great weapons and the chaos dwarfy looking head, which is like from the other one. It's going to be an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
You do that, but yeah, I was writing chaos dwarf lists with half an eye, working out how many I could feasibly do. You don't need many of them.
No, because you're going to fill out your infantry and stuff with black orcs, aren't you?
And even then, I think I didn't do any black orcs. They said like,
you need a black orc.
Of infantry, a block of ranged unit dwarves, a couple of hobgot units, a Lamassu guy, Taurus guy, whatever it is, 1 on foot, and a couple of war machines, and that was it.
Yeah,
2,000 points.
The one thing that was missing was like an Iron Demon replacement, I guess.
Yeah.
But it might be nice to. It might be refreshing to see some lists without Iron Demons.
But I know it's a chariot, but you could probably use one of the mech guys in the thingies, just obviously on the chariot base.
Yeah.
Because it looks. I mean, an Iron Demon to me would actually look more like the AOS one than the Forge World. Because it is basically a train, isn't it? Well, not obviously the Doomquake thing, but the Iron Demon is like a train with a battering ram on it, isn't it? A steam engine. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I was looking at Chaos Wars before. I mean, I knew obviously these were coming out, but I obviously didn't know what they were going to look like. I'd wrote a few Chaos Dwarf lists, but a lot of mine had orcs in them as well. So it was mainly like you compulsory. I think you have to take one. Is it the Iron Sworn or something like that they're called?
Yeah.
Or the Iron Guard or whatever they're called. And then obviously your characters, and then you could just put in as many orcs and goblins or hobgoblins as you wanted with wolf riders and stuff. And then, like you said, artillery. So
I'm just trying to use all AOS models.
The
You absolute savage.
Did he? I think I saw some pictures of some hobgoblins, which looks okay as well.
Yeah, they look cool.
Great.
Yeah, they
similar,
look cool.
sort of, I guess a lot of people still use like the Cruel Boys.
Yeah. Like the stabbers ones.
The stabbers. So it'd be epic.
I think I was planning on using obviously the new ones as the hobgoblin blocks, and then pick up a couple of those old Cruel Boy ones to use as a sneaky hits. Yeah.
I might have got some actually, Liam. You can just have.
Oh, I'm not committed to this yet.
Yeah, no, you committed now. We've heard it. So yeah, I was not disappointed. I was quite happy with what came out. It'd be interesting to see them in different paint schemes, and I'm not too fond of this paint scheme, so it'd be interesting to see.
I've not personally heard much hype either. I mean, I'm obviously because I run AOS events as well, but don't play it as much as I probably should. In the groups, the Sanctuary group I'm in for the Warrior Lodge lads, they weren't really much hype about them either. I think they were more bothered about what is it, Ideneth that have just come out, and how then they've apparently gone now. So like they carry on a little bit.
Any rules been released for these or teased? No, so I guess once they get released and the new cafe, spoilers alert, then maybe we'll they'll suddenly get bought up.
On to actual square-based things.
Yes.
We have the next Arcane Journal.
Yes.
It's interesting.
I just hope they make Cetra actually worth his points.
I will go buy one then. More based on what we said in that article, it's kind of
it's a campaign book,
his war, rather than him getting a new profile 18 months after he got his last one.
So this campaign book, is it going to be like the sort of Tamakan book from 8th edition, but without all the extra monsters and stuff?
There's a few armies of infamy in them, I believe it said, didn't it?
Yeah, it said at least
like
2.
Dwarf one. Yeah.
So the Dwarf Slayers and the Border Princes one. And then half a book will be background and narrative. Anyway, same as it is with all the other Arcane Journals.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be interesting to see.
There is a new unit profile in there though. Not necessarily a unit, but there's a barded skeletal steed as well in there, because that's what the
next slide
we'll come on to in a minute. Yeah, that's a new entry in there apparently. I guess it's just +1 save to on a normal skeletal horse, right?
So I guess do we think this will be the way that the Arcane Journals go now? Each one being its sort of own little like campaign book, rather than the first set we saw, they all had like one little narrative mission in them. Whereas do we think these are all going to be more very much just telling the story of the old world going along?
So this one is still set in 2276, but I think it is anyway. It doesn't say it, but the next one mentions it's starting in 2277.
Yeah, so this one is Cetra's invasion of the Border Princes. The Cathay one is Friedel's invasion of the Northern Empire.
And the Marienburg and the Jade Fleet matching up.
So Jade Fleet basically taking ownership of the Empire and saying, I'm going to protect you, but actually taking over, really, isn't it?
I mean, to be fair, if a massive dragon flying dragon come and was like, right, I'm gonna take you under my wing and protect you. You probably go, cool, sound. Let's do it.
Now, I really like the idea that these appeal to more than one person as well.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm a dwarf player, then I've got some Slayers, and I've got to buy this book because it'll give me
it's another play to make money, right? If you make the books as widely accessible.
They're like 14 quid a book. So I mean,
it's not a huge amount, but I've already got 10 on my shelf.
But what I mean is, I think everyone should buy them anyway, just to read the books, like, because the actual. I don't know who reads the Arcane Journals. I do, because I obviously own them all, but like there is some really good stuff in there, and little stories and stuff in there which are really good. I was
reading through the Beastman one recently when I was painting up my mission objectives. And they've got the Beastman alphabet in there, so I was having great fun putting graffiti on headstones, spelling out various swear words and that sort of stuff, just giggling to myself, knowing that no one will ever know what I mean because no one else has read
them. That's what they're good for as well, isn't it? Because there is a lot of that stuff in there, like obviously the paint schemes and stuff like that, and like you said, the alphabet to do your hobby, I guess. So
Yeah.
they're more than just a rules book. They are other things as well, which is good. I'm excited for this personally. Yeah, just because of this. I mean, how cool is he? Like the Tomb King on the horse.
The one on the horse is ridiculously good.
Yeah, although I think they said they were heralds, weren't they? They didn't say the actual.
Yeah, they
kings,
are
didn't they?
heralds, but it's a Tomb King or a Royal Herald or whatever.
I mean,
it does
he
not
does
matter.
look
It
very
looks
similar
amazing.
to the Tomb King off the thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna get like heavy cavalry, I guess.
That'd be
We've already
cool.
got
Yeah,
a heavy
unit.
skeleton horseman. You see them
Yeah,
all
but
the time.
they've
on
not
the
got
gaming
like
table.
they've not got a decent like knight equivalent, have they? So I guess this is
Well,
where
I think
we're going here.
I think they're like knight equivalents. The Snake Riders, I forget what they called now.
Yeah, but they're monstrous cav though, aren't they? So like,
Yeah,
I think these will be the knights of
I wonder
Tomb
if they'll be called like the Nehekaran phalanx or something. They're not
Or
phalanx,
Royal
sorry,
Guard or
cataphracts.
something. Yeah.
Cataphracts.
Cataphracts, yeah.
They're
but they're cool model.
cavalry riding chariots.
I like the skeleton snake as well next to his feet.
Oh, yeah, do you know what? I didn't even notice that. But that's clearly a design thing because those ankles will snap.
Yeah,
That is not there.
That's what I was thinking, looking at it going, oh, I hope it's this plastic sturdy stuff because
that's game over if that snake
any kneeless horses flopping around.
Yeah. Do you know what though? I'm actually shocked that he's not stood on a rock because like pretty much all of the new sculpty like character model things are all stood on some form of rockery.
He looks pretty
he's got a rock on it, yeah.
He looks pretty close to vertical on that horse. I think you put it on a rock and it's as tall as a Cathayan balloon then.
Well, the thing that annoys me a little bit is when they do put the characters on the rocks are never big enough. Like Leo Mullates, the Shugagun Lord, like it's on a rock, but then the wings curl down, so you still can't place it properly unless it's overlapping the base. Like, just make it high.
And that new BSB, he looks pretty cool as well.
These are cool. Yeah, these are cool as well. I love the floating scroll on the one with like the gash hat.
The on foot guy.
Yeah.
The article said something about Nekar and incantations as well.
So like some new magic.
Potentially a magic lore or something in there.
Nice.
Be interesting to see which way it goes.
Yeah, you don't like in the Arcane Journal. Sorry, the spells are a bit more buffy, aren't they? Where there isn't really. I know they've in Necromancer there's Unquiet Spirits, but they don't really have anything overly offensive, do they? The undead.
Got a horrible casket. They got a casket that does horrible things.
No, but I mean, but that's a specific unit that does a specific spell. Like not like like you've got Vile Tide. You haven't really got anything that you can probably spam, bar the Necromancy one, but everyone can take that anyway because it's a it's a universal law thing. So yeah, I'm surprised he's not like some form of like almost like a desert tempest or something like that. Or like a sandstorm type of attack.
Yeah, one thing if you have a look at their old sort of spells from 8th edition, they had 5 or 6 spells sort of like you described like sandstorms, and obviously you get your reserve moves and extra attacks of it and that sort of stuff. So I'm sure we'll start to see sort of something like that. It'd be interesting to see how they start looking at Magic now that they've sort of, I don't want to say toned it down, but they've.
I think you can say toned it down.
Now that they've toned it down, it'd be interesting to see how much they actually push Magics and whether they put really good spells out but just give them really high casting values, or start to bring out some lower casting value ones which are just very slight changes to the balance of the game. And
would you like to see the All Winds of Magic come back? As maybe not necessarily a roll to the cast, let's say, but like say you still roll your 2d6, which is for your casting, but then you have a pool of Winds of Magic which you roll for the game, and you've got X amount of dice to roll additionally. Maybe
I don't want it to ever go back to 6 dice missed.
Oh yeah, well you have to pass on 4s or whatever it was. No, I don't mean that. I mean like you get like a pool of, like, so you roll at the start of the game. That's how many everyone has.
I don't know. I think that they've already neutered it so much. I think if you started doing that, then there just won't be any people won't pay the point. Like you'd have to halve the points of wizards to bring.
Well, I say that because you in the Total War game you pray to
before
you start. Yeah, I didn't know if that'd be something that they'd incorporate, or if you thought it'd be interesting. It definitely put Magic probably back to where it was, but
possibly,
made some items redundant as well. Like there's no point in a power scroll.
No, no, it'd be interesting, but no, I can't see them making any more whole scale changes. I mean, he might suddenly surprise me, but I can't see it.
I love how the horse on this one, how it's just stood there, and like the other one's like
not every horse can be rearing, Dan.
Yeah, but he's not even stood on a rock.
There's some rocks on his base.
I don't even think
the guy on the left, the guy on the foot's on a rock.
Is he? Or is that his foot? Because the
priests aren't. It looks the same colour as.
Because the priests aren't dead, are they? They're the mummies, aren't they? The priests.
I think there's just some tactical basing rocks just in front of his.
It
looks
I think he's
on the horse.
Yeah.
Just makes it look like he's on a rock, but he's just still on the base. But
I mean,
again, some really cool
stunning models. They really are.
So were these models that were like I've got Tomb Kings in the garage, but I've never even taken them out of the box yet. So are these models that were missing?
We never had that plastic kit that a lot of other armies had, where you got one hero and one wizard or whatever, and you made it a thing. So it's nice to see that, but it's also the fact that they're doing it. I can understand when they brought out Foot Knights to Bretonia.
The old stuff that they had.
It's like everyone who had a Bretonian army might have wanted some Foot Knights. You might have even buy 2 boxes now, but to put effort and invest in a game with plastic models where you're probably going to buy 1 box each, no matter what, that's a really big investment from GW.
So do we think these are brand new designs and not sort of
100%?
100%.
I think these have almost been designed on back of how much they've underestimated how popular the game is. Maybe
I think potentially, that article we had after a month or so, it said the scope of a project has changed. I think this is, in my head, it's still too early for that. But
was Cafe not the scope of change, or do you think Cafe was?
Well, they were never supposed to release them, were they? That was the thing, wasn't it? They weren't ever going to be released, or not anytime soon. I think it said, didn't it? And then, lo and behold,
but as in
16 months later,
anything not within the next 3 months is never happening. But this is like, even at a push for soon, if they could have got something out like, okay, we've looked at our pre-order numbers, we can actually invest more. And this would be the first thing where they really, and even then, I think it's probably still too soon.
I mean, but once you saw 7 balloons in everyone's baskets on Cathay release day, they must have known they had some money coming in, right?
I mean, I'll be honest. I'll admit that I think I said even to you guys, like, I think I can't see anything more coming out this year now for Old World Outside. Maybe a new starter box for the 2nd edition, because they've done everything. I think there's a couple of characters missing from the Arcane Journals, maybe, but
I mean, Kislev is still potentially. That's the last army that's had pictures in the rule book.
But Dogs of War as well.
Which I think you've got to look at it the other way around. Like, this is the exciting time now. We know what we knew what was coming for 18 months. We were going to get a book every 2 to 3 months, which had a couple of armies of infamy and a set of new magic items, a couple of named characters, and a couple of units. Now we're into the unknown, and this is actually
the exciting part, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
Exactly that.
And I guess if we went back 12 months and someone said to you, what has come out is going to come out in the next 12 months, you
wouldn't have believed it, would you?
No. So if you carry on delivering similar to that, another big army release, I guess the difficulty now is that because all the factions are done, where they have the backlog of models, everything else is theoretically new or I guess there's still some units to flesh out some of the armies, which will come in these journals by the sound of it as these sort of extra armies are moving for me. But everything else from here on is, theoretically brand new.
Should be new. Yeah.
Or stuff you've not been able to buy for God knows how long, but now we were able to, like those Ufa's Dragon Company or whatever they were.
Yeah. So we start seeing birdmen of Katarazan or whatever they were called. And
well, they've done that with the Wood Elf hunting pack thing, didn't they? With the bears and the dogs and stuff. Like that. What was that kit from like 85 or something like that?
Imperial ogres, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I think it's great that they can pull on the nostalgia strings as well. I mean, on a lot of people, can't they?
So how often do we think these next set of journals are going to be monthly things, similar, or 2 monthly things?
Much.
Yeah,
the last 3 months we've had last 3 or 4
we've
had monthly or more frequently than monthly.
If we get them every
quarter,
if you had 4 a year, will you be happy with that? Because
I would be. Yeah,
for me that's amazing.
I think the problem is for me and Dan and you recently, Liam, is we get so excited and we can't keep up with the models and Liam can because he paints ridiculously, but we can't keep up with buying and painting and getting to play these models before the next exciting thing's out. I'm painting an army, playing a game, a tournament 2 with them, and then be like, ooh, new shiny, and then
I can keep up with buying stuff. I just
But getting to getting to a position where I just sit and be like, okay, this is at the start of this year I was like, right, I'm gonna just play one army this year, and so far I think I've played 5 or 6 different armies in tournaments so far, and
it's easily done though, isn't it?
I'm just kid in the candy store, as I've said before.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing though, Jack, either. It just means you love the hobby for what it is, and the reason I've got every army is because I want to play every army. I will never be the best player ever at Warhammer, but I enjoy playing different types of armies. Apart from legacy ones, obviously, we'll draw a line there. But
how you Skaven coming along, Dan?
Shh. They don't exist. Sigmar lied, remember? No, they're on a shelf. They'll be coming out to play next week, I think, but we'll see. But yeah, no, I enjoy personally playing all the different armies. So I'm excited for all of these arcane journals. Whatever time.
Do you think these are gonna push on allies a lot more?
I heard this on the other podcast that listened to earlier, and it's like I can see it because you don't have to bring out an entire new range. You can just combine a bit of a range that you've already got. So I reckon some allies may become mercenaries.
Yeah, I think whether they're allies or whether the journal army list just encompasses different armies in one, and that's not technically classed as allies. They're allies. The 2 different factions fight together, but they're not an allies.
They get amalgamated into one. Like this has said is Cathay and Empire, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to give them the things they don't have, which is light crossbows or archers.
We might see sort of chaos being combined back into beastmen and warriors and demons being pushed back into one army list.
I think the problem is though they kind of do that anyway, don't they? Like you can take probably all the best things out of each of those armies. Dragon ogres, pretty much.
But I think
I'm excited for this one as well because obviously there's the Jade Fleet. Obviously got Empire as well.
There's no timelines on these. There was the.
We know that the other one's first because it says followed by this.
Okay.
But you got to remember that we've still got stuff that's been shown previously that hasn't been previewed for sale yet from the last one, and now this is probably going to last us 9 or 10 articles on that website.
Yeah.
So this will probably take us up until October, November at minimum, if not even start of December.
Yeah, because
it's probably going to run us up to the end of the year, and then we'll get the sneak peek of the next big thing because Level Dogs of War, and that'll lead us into sort of first quarter of next year.
That's it. I mean, going on from what you just said about the possibility of allies being a thing or mercenaries being a thing, it all totally ties into Dogs of War, doesn't it? Because essentially they're an army of regiments of renown, aren't they? Essentially, they're not really an army as a whole, are they? They're all mercenary units ready to hire. So I can imagine something coming out, an Arcane Journal coming out with all the entries in, and it's almost like a pick and mix of what to take.
Do you think they'll be allocated as mercenaries, or will there be an army list that is dogs of that is?
I don't know.
One army list?
They could do both. I mean, the thing is as well, you've obviously got you have got some legacy faction, like mercenaries in there, Dogs of War in there. Is it Miguel's Manflayers, the Dark Elves? So they could come back.
They were really weird in that they were like a 6th or 7th edition Dark Elf named camp unit when Dogs of War stopped in 5th. So it was a really weird one. But there's always scope, isn't there? But none of the old ones are going to be alive now because it's 250 years prior to most of them being born.
Yeah.
So, but it's just kind of like, do we retcon something? And if they do, whatever, don't care, all good. Shiny models. If they want to go different, the Border
Princes is where all they are anyway, isn't it? That's it. Obviously, in the that was time era. That's where all of the Dogs of War companies were, weren't they? The Border Princes.
Yeah. So do we get
Lear and stuff?
Yeah. So do we get a Border Princes army of infamy?
That'd be cool. That I'd like that because the Kinderies are the exiles, and they see obviously you can have some certain Empire units in the Bretonia one, but it'd be nice to see it the other way as well. Empire with maybe like the Bretonia Knights, or I'd love to be able to make the. Did you ever play Dark Omen? The Warhammer Dark Omen. That with the guy who you play in that, like all of those would be awesome. Whether you'd be able to do that, but.
Cool. Right, sure. I know we've got a lot to cover, so shall we move on?
Yeah. So next we move into, is it hobby? It is.
It is, yeah. My what I've been up to, amongst other things, while we've been busy. This is actually, I started doing this when I got back from the event on Sunday. So
okay.
I know. Well, she went to bed, bless her. But so yeah, we'll go into it later on. But so got home from the event, and I mean, I don't know if you guys do this. Whenever you've been to an event, regardless what it is, I did it last weekend as well. I went to a Middle Earth event, and I started writing lists, looking at models, what I could buy, stuff like that. Did exactly the same thing, and I wasn't even playing this weekend. I was like, I quite like the look of these, and like I've just been saying to Jack off before we started, it's one of those, because I own every army and I've got 4 of them that are fully painted, and I'm like, I need something. I need to be able to get something on the table that's painted when I need to. What's the easiest thing to finish? I was like, oh, actually, Tomb Kings, because they're just skeletons with a bit of the colours of the weapons. So yeah, so I just had a mad session Sunday night on contrasting 2 layers of dry brush and all this stuff. And obviously you can see I've not finished on the one on the right hand side. The Tomb Guard they're still ranked up, ready to be sprayed. So, but yeah, so I started doing a lot of that Sunday night and did a bit last night as well. Just to get an army on the board, so I've got another option to play a different army. And then, but previously, so from do you want to go on to the next slide, Liam?
Yeah.
There we go. I made this, obviously knowing that we were going to be one of the first to probably have Cathay fully painted at the event, and there was 2 armies, which we'll go into in a minute. I created this, but this is for my home anyway, because obviously I've got Cathay myself. But I thought, do you know what? I want to get it finished. I want to put it on table 1 so I can sit and watch it. And then, lo and behold, someone stayed on it all weekend, didn't they, Liam? Which were nice. So, but yeah, so it's actually just some repurposed AOS terrain. So I had this terrain printed out for a Lumineth board, but then went and obviously did a bit of research about the actual land of Cathay, because obviously I've only ever seen it on the Total War game, and they have a lot of floating stuff around.
Very Avatar-esque.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like buildings floating on rocks like these. So I have got a couple more. In fact, I can show you here. I have got a couple more which I'm gonna put like Tory gates on and stuff. I've got one that's got like waterfalls coming out of the rocks and stuff like that. So I'm going to make another board. So we've got two. I'll keep one at the club. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing this. A lot of this stuff as well is from Teema, which costs pretty much nothing. I think I maybe paid about £7 or £8 for like all of the bamboo, the little. I don't know if you can see like the little rocks hanging out of the hills. And there's some rocks which are like Asian and Japanese style. I know Cathay are obviously based around ancient China and stuff like that, but it's kind of a mix of both cultures, isn't it? Yeah, like with the buildings and stuff like that. And then I actually really enjoyed making this terrain. And I'll send you guys some whip pictures and stuff like that. But I do enjoy making terrain. It's quite therapeutic because you're not having to edge highlight everything. You're just doing it. Do you know what I mean? You're doing it as a painting it, getting it a couple of dry brush. I mean, a lot of the paint on the hills is actually rattle can as well, with a heavy dry brush. So it was actually really quickly to do that. The hills, and then obviously you can just cover it up with the flock anyway. But no, I enjoyed making that. So yeah, that's been my hobby the last few weeks. Since we've, when was it? 58 weeks ago since we did the last episode.
Yeah, something like that. 3.5.
So go to me next. So
smelly boys.
Yeah, so I guess probably 58 weeks ago now, I did a bit of tidying up in advance of an event I was taking my Beastmen to. So I tidied up some Vestigor, which is collecting dust in my box for the last 12-18 months. So I went back over and touched those up and just brought a bit more of my Beastmen up to a more recent standard of my painting, which still isn't great, but a bit better than where I was when I painted them probably 4 or 5 years ago. And then yesterday, I've been watching this guy on YouTube, Kim's Talisman, and he's been doing all these really cool old school Nurgle conversions, Nurgle demon conversions and stuff. It's really, really cool stuff. And it just gave me the impetus to.
They're the old BC Nurgle, aren't they? Those ones.
They're not the oldest ones.
No, but I mean because the new ones are plastic, aren't they, and look really quite comical with the hair and stuff.
Yeah. So these. It just gave me the impetus to grab my my Nurgle demons out anyway. My Slanesh ones are finished painted up. They're probably one of my favorite armies I've painted. But these, thought I'd get these out and retouch these up. These were probably one of the first ones that I threw a load of contrast down on when I got hold of them and painted the whole 3,000 point Nurgles in like a weekend.
It don't matter with Nurgle though, is it? Because that's
supposed
to be
got these
messy.
Out.
The messier the better, I think.
Started. Yeah, I just had basically today. Just gave these another sort of coat of paint. Touched the bases up. I'm really tempted to try them out at an event in a fortnight or so, with no expectations to do anything at the event. But it'd be nice to. I've not seen demons at any events really.
There was
at all this weekend.
I've seen Corn Army once or twice, and that's about it. So it'd be nice to see something different on the table. So just touch these up. Had a demon prints in a box, so I've just painted them a little bit Nurgly, and I'm just still working on bits of these.
The lad at the club's actually doing quite well with his. He's played last 3 weeks, I think, with like a big block of plague bearers and stuff, and because he's just running like all the demons what can obviously work together. I think it's Corn and Nurgle that can work together, can't they, or something? I've not fully read the legacy pack, but he's been doing quite well with them, with demons themselves.
You can't take different species of demons down. That's breaking the card more. Really.
I'm not playing them, so what he wants, but yeah.
But no, it'd be interesting to try them out. So yeah, this is the event that I've spoken to previously was one one of Rob's events at a TSN Arena a couple of weeks ago. So it was the first one, basically the first event after the FAQ and the match play guide dropped, pretty much.
I think it dropped on that day, didn't it?
It did.
Well, it got released that day, but it
Yeah.
should have been
officially released.
So I thought everyone was going to take these sort of fun, fluffier lists. So you can say I've got a giant and a bone grinder giant in there alongside a load of infantry, and then I saw everyone's lists on list release day, and they all looked very similar to the list we've been playing, like the very meta heavy list. So at that point, I was like, oh, okay, well, I know how this weekend's going to go. It's not going to be very pleasant for me, so I just went into the weekend, just hoping to sort of take on some of some new learnings from the match play guide and just learning the new changes and stuff. So went into game one against Tom Bradley's Beautiful Dwarves. He's a frequent flyer at the TSN Arena. I've played him a couple of times now, and we started off with the first mission, and Rob was playing basically every potential secondary that could be. They were in the game, so there was a lot going on, as well as trying to learn the FAQ rules. So it was the brains were fried at the end of the weekend, and the games were taking a bit longer because of the changes and stuff. So they were I think we finished like 8:30 on the Saturday night, and that was even, I think, a couple of my games been cut off about 10:04 because there's just a lot to take in. So I lined up against Tom's Dwarves, and we had this little objective in the middle of the board, which was just one of the standard 30-point turn ones, and we were very much like, ooh, objectives, we need to capture the objectives, which I think was a sort of story from the weekend. Everyone was potentially drawn in a bit too much on the objectives, and everyone focused on them a bit too hard, when in reality, some of them, the more sort of obviously the secondary objectives. So I think a few people learned a few lessons over the weekend of getting burnt a bit from being a bit eager on them. But this, you can see here that we have these two big impassable terrain pieces, right, sort of, centrally in the board. So there's this little pathway in the middle, and we basically rushed into it, and was sort of, I'd set myself up. You can see the best goes on the left flank. I was like, if he comes forward with anything, they'll hit them in the flank. Rest will hit them in the front, and he'd sort of done the similar to me. And then I was sort of sat there turn two, having seen the list and thinking, okay, I'm not doing that great this weekend, so I'm not. I'll be the aggressor, and I'll rush in. We had a big scrap in the middle. My headstone was giving out some nice buffs. The rerolls to ones to wound when you use best score is really, really nice when generally you're looking for twos to wound. We laid carnage to each other. I think we got to about turn 3 or 4, and sort of big block of hammers there on the right. You can see sort of basically had a charge on my big unit of gore there with the characters in. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just flee, thinking I'll rally next turn. And then by the time it got to next turn, we were at about 3.5 hours, and the game ended before I had a chance to rally. So I had like 1,000 points of unit dead, even though I still had 2 turns left to rally them. So I think it finished in an 11-9 to Tom. So it was a good close game. I think if we'd had those 2 extra turns, I'd had a chance to rally. It would have been interesting to see how it went. Good game. Tom's always a good opponent. Then I went into my second Dwarves of the weekend, which was, as a beast in an army that sort of enjoys its magic, I had three wizards in here, having just face everything with magic res from the off, after the first time really taking in how these new magic rules took effect. It was a bit rough, but again, so this is one of the ones where I was playing against James, and we had this special terrain feature in the middle, which obviously you can't capture till turn 6, but I think we both got drawn a bit, and we were like, we must compete for the terrain feature. So you can see James was very aggressive with his dwarves there, which basically led to me charging and just running through his whole army with overruns in like 3 turns. So this was quite a big win for me. This one, I think it was a 20. So they were still using the 20-0 scoring system, but using the point differentials from the new 6-0 scoring. So it's a bit of a hybrid scoring system. But yeah, this one I sort of ran through James. But this dwarf army, he painted up in like the week leading to the event, so it's pretty impressive how quickly he smashed those out. And yeah, I think the Bone Grinder did quite well in this one. He went into a block of Iron Breakers and just sort of stomped them out in one turn, which was pretty nice. I don't think he did much. Either giant didn't do huge amounts for the rest of the event.
The Iron Breakers are quite notoriously hard to actually break as well, aren't they?
Yeah, but when you
3-up save, I think.
Yeah, so I got into this event
Oh,
running Dark Magic on my. So I had 2 level 1s and the special character Shaman for the Beastmen, and sort of took Dark, thinking Doombolt might be really nice against all these big blocks of infantry, and then they were all toughness 4, super high armor save dwarfs that I faced for most of the event, so it didn't play out too great.
Who were really great against magic.
yeah. So it wasn't ideal. Then end of day 1, I came up against some very nice Matt's Orcs and Goblins, and you can see I sort of set up quite heavy on this right flank, thinking I'll take out this little block of goblins and sort of run around the back with them while the rest of my army keeps, sort of him busy. He had a big block of poison archers, which I was like, oh, poison's nerfed now. I don't need to worry about that. That's fine. A couple of other units with, 9 fanatics across the board, a couple of Mangler Squigs, Little Squig. It was a pretty conventional Orcs and Goblins list. And I progressed across this edge of the board. I got a charge in with my giant and terror checked these goblins off the board, but they released the fanatics. And those 3 fanatics, I think 2 of them killed each other, and then 1 fanatic proceeded to wipe out my whole right flank. Over like 3 turns of movement, it rolled 6 hits every time for every unit it went through, and it obliterated those 2 pigs, the giant, and that block of Bestigor with my Beast Lord and Doombolt in there, and it wiped to a man.
Amazing.
One fanatic has. At that point, what can you do? You just sit there and go, okay, like, yeah, okay. Yeah. So I think I managed to pick up a few points here and there, and I think just finished like a 13-7 to Matt, which I was quite happy with, given how brutalized I felt at the end of the game.
I don't think they should be able to do that though, like release when they're running away.
Yeah, and
it should have been unless fleeing. Like
so he'd released them at the start of my turn.
Right. Okay. Oh, so you already
released them. And then I declared the charge, and they fled off. But like, I just don't think they should be able to release in your turn.
No, they shouldn't be. No.
And so but then again, like, they haven't really got much else that can.
Well, yeah, they're not going to fight you, are they? Let's be honest.
So, but no, so yeah, another good game, but it was one of those where you're just like, what's happened? And then you can see in the top left, I then went on to play Andy 2d6.
Was that the next one? Sorry, I messed up when I then.
That's okay. And
it was on the same board though, weren't it?
Yeah, same board. So that was the game 1. The next day was Andy from Andy 2d6. So I think he put a bit of a event summary on there. So it was my 3rd dwarves out of 4 games. So again, my Doombolts didn't come in too great. So I don't think I actually took a Valtide until game 5. But
which game did you win over the weekend?
Which games did I win?
Yeah.
Game 5. I won game 5, game 4, and game 2.
Oh, that's good then.
So I came up against Andy. He had this big block of rangers on the right hand flank, which were very cautious over a single Razor Gore that was out there, and they spent the whole game playing sort of hide and seek around that hill with this one Razor Gore. So I was quite happy to entertain him with that while I focused on basically taking the rest of his army out. I sort of crumpled down his left flank and got into his anvil and artillery. I found that my new favourite item in the Beastman army list is the Chalice of Dark Rain, especially playing so many shooty lists for that one turn where you can turn off any shooting from artillery and half the range of sort of just normal shooting, it was, you know, when you're playing a full send army like Beastman, if you can get turn 1, which I didn't actually get, I don't think, in a single game, but if you could get turn 1 and get into them before they can even shoot, it could be quite catastrophic. Even going second, it's still, you know, very nice of limiting yourself to one round of shooting rather than 2 or 3. So that was my favorite item of the weekend. But yeah, so Andy's game, I took out the left flank. His right flank just played with a razor gore, and then he had this big block of hammers that you can see sort of creeping past my headstone. So for this was the first game that someone actually took the headstone basically off me, and I didn't really fancy fighting them. So you can see my block of gore there in the woods next to my supply cart, and this block of hammerers with his king in trundled across the board, and ran into that block of gore, which was, you know, 24 gore, full command, hammer and shields, and I beat them in combat. And there's a little bit of a play. So his king was on the far end, and he basically moved up to stand in front of me and was like, okay, you charge me. And I was like, I'm not going to charge you. I'm going to take 2 steps to the right. So when you charge me, your king can't actually get in contact with my unit. So he's limited to one support and attack. And then he charged me and, yeah, whiffed on a couple of attacks he had. I beat him on static combat res. I pushed him back. He then charged me again, and I think we drew. And then, you know, he finally beat me, but I fell back far enough that it was that point in the game that he couldn't catch me. He didn't have enough. He basically overran to where my cart was, but it was turn 6, so he didn't have enough time to actually capture it because he didn't have another turn. And yeah, I got a pretty comprehensive win in this game as well, which sort of boosted me up the tables a bit and going into game 5, where I came across Steve and his Nurgle Dragon and Warpfire Dragon and Manticore Shaman, big block of I think it's 5 or 6 Dragon Ogres, and a big block of Warriors. So it's, yeah, this is one of the lists that I saw early on and was like, oh, I don't really fancy playing into that. So this was the game that I took 3 Vital Tides. Again, Steve got turn 1, was very aggressive with his Lord, basically moved it. So I camped in this corner. Well, I didn't camp in this corner, but I set up in this corner. You can see my headstone sort of right in this corner. And I thought, I'll sort of play it relatively defensive. There wasn't that many objectives in this game, so there wasn't much other points available to score. And I just sort of set up sort of around this hill and sort of, yeah, let him come to me. I'll figure it out as I go along. And he was very aggressive with his Lord. And I think I shaved off 6 wounds with Vital Tide in turn 1, which sort of forced him into then having to be super aggressive. He charged into that sort of block of Bestial with my Doombull in there. I beat him. I had -2 to hit on the Bestial, on the Doombull, so he sort of ran in. He charged in a big block of Marauder Horsemen as well. You can see there's 4 left there. So they gave me a lot of easy combat res because he put them into challenge out my character.
What did you have on to give it -2? It slow skin and
slow skin and bedazzling helm.
Okay, cool. Filth.
Yeah, but he doesn't have much offensive output at that point. So I've got a Beast Lord in there as well, who sort of accepted the challenge from the Marauder Horseman. The Bestigor slapped the Marauder Horseman, and the way that he charged in, the dragon basically ended up in base contact with only the Doombull and the Beast Lord. So the Doombull just absolutely, well, I'd say wailed on him. I think Doombull got 1 wound off him, but I think he got 6 stomps on me and managed to get like 3 or 4 wounds through on my Doombull just from his stomps alone. So I won the combat and sort of ran after him, but he sort of got far away enough with his dragon that I didn't catch him. But it set me up in a position where I was in the flank of the Dragon Ogres, which I had no interest in fighting fairly because, yeah,
not that many of them.
No. So I have you see the Bone Grinder. He's facing backwards just because his club's massive.
I'm going to say what I was literally going to ask you that. Why is he facing the other way?
His club's a pain in the arse, so he's facing backwards, but there's another block of Bestigor next to him and the other giant, and they all the giant charged the Warpfire but failed. The Bestigour, both boxes of Bestigour and the Bone Grinder made it into the Dragon Ogres, and I left them with 1 wound after I struck.
Told you best to go good, Jack.
So I had I've got the Dark Fury, the Hatred and Frenzy on the block in the front of them, so they just went in and absolutely wailed, and the sort of Doom Bull and the Beast Lord absolutely mulched in the flank as well. And yeah, there was 1 Dragon Ogre left with 1 wound after I struck. I think the Bone Grinder did a couple of things, but the Bone Grinders never seemed to roll the attacks that I wanted when I needed them. So I smashed with Dragon Ogres, and then he charged my Giant who had failed to charge with the Warp Fire and the Manticore in the next turn. And I held. He didn't kill me, which gave me time for my Bone Grinder to come and help his little brother out. Charged into the flank of the Warp Fire. The Warp Fire killed the Giant, who was left on 1 wound. The Giant then timbered and killed the Warp Fire. And then there was you can just about see the base. There's a Razorgore in the rear of the Manticore. The Manticore broke, and the Razorgore chased him down and killed him. So the Chaos Warriors I didn't engage whatsoever because I had nothing. Yeah, so I had nothing there. So the Chaos Warriors left alone. I killed the 2 units of Marauder Horsemen, the Dragon Ogres. The Dragon was left on 1 wound and was fleeing, so I got all his points. And yeah, killed the other monsters. So a really good big win against a list that I was actually really scared of. But I think because everything came in dribs and drabs, if it'd gone for one sort of concerted effort, it would have been a different story.
If you just Hail Married it, and because was that just like a 2 objective thing as well?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the 2 sort of objectives.
I think you have to on that mission, because I think we talked about this, and we like, it's one of those where you either, it's capture the flag essentially, isn't it? You could either play reserved and try and sneak one at the end, depending on how it's going, or you just go and just take your opponents and not worry about your own.
I think this one is probably the closest to old world. And you just play it as, I try and kill you, you try and kill me. Unfortunately, I got the look of the dice. I got 2 Valtides off on the Dragon. 26 hits and then 25 hits. Unfortunately, I didn't have the Hag Tree Fetish because it was with Tralmor. But I managed to chip him down nicely, and it just put the pressure on him to have to react. I went through got 3 wins over the weekend, and I surprisingly submarined myself up to 3rd place in the rankings. I was quite happy with that. Got a little certificate. To be fair, there was only 12 or 13 players that weekend, but I was quite happy given the quality of the rest of the list that I saw to sneak up and steal that sort of 3rd place. I was happy. That was my weekend over at TSN. So I guess sort of roundup was trying to learn FAQ 1.5 and the match play guides without any actual match play books, because mine's still not been delivered because I ordered it alongside a Beastman BSB who is made to order, so it's still somewhere out in the midst. Trying to do all that without anything actually in front of you to look at and really get on the rules was a difficult weekend. But I enjoyed it nonetheless, and it was nice to get in there early and start sort of thinking about these rules. And I've never really played objective based Warhammer, so it was a complete new beast to me to have to think about not just fighting but actually, I came out of this and was like, okay, well, I definitely can drop this and this because I need extra Ungor or just something else to capture points, because I only had sort of 2 core units that could capture. And so it was interesting. Some good rules.
I mean, we'll get into that point actually towards the end after Liam's gone through what he's done, because I think it's massively changed what's going on within the game at the minute.
Yeah, but like I say, over the weekend there was so many accounts of dragons just bouncing off of units. And so, when I went in and went, oh, these lists are all horrible, and that's the reality, unless you're, it's no longer the push and play army that Warriors of Chaos once was, where you just throw a dragon and don't have to worry about it. Now you've got to support and get those layers of sort of support coming in. You can't just rely on just having the biggest, nastiest thing on the board and relying on that one thing. So it was refreshing to see that change.
Yeah.
Cool.
Over to you, Lee.
On screen, my hobby, as has been a hobby for the last few weeks, has been furiously painting this as quickly as I can to get it ready for Dan's event. It's nearly there.
You've done a good job as well.
Very disappointing that Dan didn't tailor his terrain to match your basings.
I know. New mat, everything, please.
Matches my basic, mate.
I've still got to finish off the highlights on this central unit and on the 2 cannons, but apart from that, everything else is sorted. Then I've got the rest of the battalion box and stuff to paint, 2nd battalion box to paint up. Gate Master, Shigengen, 2nd Shigengen, bits like that, but it keep me going for a while yet. The close-ups of the Sentinel, the Blue Lantern, and my Shigengen, all from the event, but we'll come back to that shortly, because me and Jack actually had a game last week.
Finally got our second game in after, I think I played you in the very first weekend of Old World Gaming.
Yeah, like the second weekend after the game had been released, we played each other game 1. No one had played anything before, more than like 1 or 2 games max. But yeah, so just a couple of quick pictures. It was kind of a interesting game where my artillery was abysmal, but my magic was fantastic.
Yeah, so when Liam sort of starts that game, oh yeah, I'm an illusion caster, I was like, oh great, he's not getting a single spell off this game, and I'm just gonna run across that board and slap him silly. And then every turn it was Column of Crystal, roll a 12 or roll an 11. And I was like, what? So after having, I think Liam, your first turn, like you misfired pretty much all your artillery apart from your stone thrower, which did take out like half my gore in one shot. But so at that point, I was like, great, I'm going to pop my chalice of my favorite new item, my chalice of Dark Rain, off and sort of run across that board, and there's nothing he can do about it. How wrong was I?
Yeah, so I've kind of come to a conclusion with Illusion Magic that I'm not taking the Law Familiar. So I've got 4 spells on my level 3. And you only ever need to really cast 2 to 3 a turn in most situations anyway. So it's like a cheap level 4. But between the Yin spell, Column of Crystal with Stupidity 1, Miasma, if you just throw everything at 1 unit, some things you're going to roll high on one of the 3 or 4 attempts, one of the 2 to 3 attempts even, and one of them goes off. And because you've rolled high and spiked it, your opponent's finding it difficult to unbind to spell. So kind of playing into that, but yeah, kept throwing, I think I maybe cast Column of Crystal 4 times in the game. And
yeah, it's nonsense. Alongside your signature spell, the D6 random move one. So I thought I would be across that board by turn 2. Effectively, my Bestigor got held up behind Columns of Crystals and got given random move D6, and it took me like till probably turn 4 to actually get across. And at which point you can see how much was left of that unit. It had just been whittled down to basically the characters and a couple of Bestigor. At which point I just didn't have the weight in that unit to be able to do anything. So when I finally got the charges in, actually I didn't do too bad. I got the charges in, and I sort of beat your 2 sort of sword and board units pretty handily. It's then when I countered in, you got the count, you hit with the counter charge, brought your sort of lord into play, who I actually wasn't too concerned about like throughout the game. Like he didn't actually do, obviously his magic was a bit of a pain in the arse. And hampered me getting across there, but up until basically turn 6, I was like, oh, he's been a waste of points for Liam, because I only took 2 level 1s.
A bit of a pain in the arse. Tell that to the 30 dead gore.
well, yeah,
strewn across the battlefield as you walked.
At which point I'd sort of smashed through his lines. They'd all fallen back, and then we're ready for the counter charge, and sort of went in. My Doom Ball went to town on the Lord, and I think I got sort of 4 or 5 wounds through, and then Liam just rolled all his ward saves. And then at which point I didn't have any static combat res to rely on, and he'd sort of managed to get a bit of static in from his sort of remaining blocks, and it beat me by 1, I think, and I rolled. At which point he double outnumbered me. I rolled a 10 when I needed a 9. I fled and he caught me, so suddenly he went from probably being in a losing position to suddenly getting nearly 1,000 points off me.
Yeah, we're not going to that as well. Also, I ran through. You see where the headstone is? I also captured that. So that one combat went from, like Jack saying, that's probably a small win to Jack heading into that turn 6 into me winning
pretty significant
5-1.
Yeah. And so this unit of Gore, you can see on the sort of right flank, spent several turns trying to chase a cannon, which just kept like running away, and somehow I just couldn't, I kept charging every turn and failing the charges, and Liam played really well to sort of retain those points, but it just sort of pulled them out of the way when they could have been really useful going into a flank and sort of adding that extra combat res. But I was quite comfortable that my best to go, well, the characters in the best to go block should have done it for me, but the sort of I didn't anticipate the ward saves coming out to play, and the ward saves on the balloon as well. So I had a couple of level 1s sort of just floating around the headstone, and I got I got quite a few wounds through with getting Valtides off on that balloon, and again the sort of having the 5-up ward save on a 10 wound 200 point model was just pretty wacky, especially when
we'll talk about them balloons in a bit.
Hot. But yeah, to be fair, like the artillery did nothing about that turn 1, so the ward saves probably balanced that out, to be fair. But I was going into that turn 6, I was like, okay, Cathay aren't too bad, until that sort of balloon got into my back lines, and I started trying to charge artillery pieces, and then losing like 4 or 5 models to stand and shoot as they sort of started throwing grenades at me and being like, what? Hold on.
Drive-bys.
So it was interesting. Like, I'd not really read the Cathay book, because I've said before, I don't like delving into the armies until I've got the physical book in front of me. So just those initial learnings of don't charge the artillery with some Ungor and that sort of stuff, it'll put me in a better place next time I play Cathay to actually know what's going on.
Not the fact that there's a giant, that is an ogre stood next to him, stood next to the artillery with a mallet.
No, that's not too bad, because like I was taking out, like I charged the grudge thrower thing, and
the missile launcher, Jack.
Yeah, the missile launcher. And I killed the normal crew, but I'd lost so many to stand and shoot that.
Yeah.
Unless
did you give him the grenades, Liam?
Yeah.
It's the same list, isn't it? Yeah.
But no, it was a good game, and it was nice to finally get to play Liam, even though we were a bit scared when we got to Warhammer World and was told there's no tables available. There'd been a Old World event there that day, which I only realised afterwards.
Did you play on Wednesday?
Yeah, Thursday.
No, Thursday. It was on the Wednesday event.
It was on the Wednesday event.
Yeah, because I was going to go to it, but obviously I had to deliver all the terrain for the event on Wednesday. So,
we're going to talk over our initial thoughts on the match play guide here, but I think maybe save that because for timing reasons.
Yeah, I'd like to do a bit more of a deep delve, actually, if that's possible. Maybe we save that for the next episode, and we can. Yeah. I think we'll have all had a few games under his belt as well. And obviously, Jack's not got his copy yet. And I mean, I've only played 3 games myself of it, so I've obviously got one tomorrow lined up. And then obviously I've sat watching for an entire weekend and trying to read it in between all the TOE stuff. Yeah, I'd like to do even just an episode on the match play guide, to be quite honest, and things we could change or what we would like to see or whatever. But yeah, so let's move on then. Liam, your list.
Yeah, so obviously I went to Dan's event in Sheffield. It was a 5-game GT 24-man using the full match play guide. Kind of one scenario with about half of them having a secondary objective in play.
So this was Grand Army and melee.
They all
combined.
They
melee.
all had a secondary objective, and it was just that they got split up. We did, if I remember rightly, we did domination for 2 objectives, domination, 3, and then 4 strategic locations. Yeah, because I didn't quite go full with like what Rob did was just jumped in. I tried to think about it a little bit more. Not saying Rob didn't. He obviously
too late now. Internet.
Too late now. No, it's on the internet. Somebody clipped it. I just thought mainly as well because I was on holiday, so I was on my own to TO. I didn't want to have to try and figure stuff out. Where I thought let's just go with follow, because I didn't necessarily follow the entire guidelines as well. Because I think on some of the missions, it does say you have to play with X, Y, Z, doesn't it? But I just didn't, just because.
I guess again, a lot of people were probably still playing 1.5 for the first time.
Exactly, exactly that. Yeah.
So going on in people's heads to get the.
Yeah, I were a little bit nice, I think, with it. But no, it's definitely it were definitely better in my opinion than just let's just kill each other. And like we said, like the missions did change the way the game's played as well. But so obviously Liam come to my event with one of the 2 cafe lists.
And you can see by the allocations of the different slots, it's a very nicely balanced list, like 650 points of characters. It's not one of those 1,000-point character lists, and it's just a nice balanced list.
Yeah, it was literally roughly one of everything, and then I've doubled up where I needed to. So a second unit of Jade Warriors, and a second cannon. Yeah,
I was just going to just jump in there. Sorry with that, Liam. And we were also running just the Grand Melee as well, for the tournament comp, I believe it is now. Yeah. So that's the one where you can only spend up to 500 points on a single unit. In your army.
You got and Liam got nowhere near it with any of them.
No.
And even that most expensive one at the Lord, I was using points towards the end. Like, I've got 5 points left. What do I do? Didn't use it all weekend, but it's what I think is a pretty solid, but still soft cafe list. Only 1 lantern. Yes, it's got 3 artillery pieces, but you've got to spend the point somewhere.
Yeah.
I think if I'm being honest, either a sentinel or one of the cannons or the rocket battery comes out for another lantern of some kind, and it instantly improves it.
Yeah.
But it's just a smattering of everything. But we'll give it a go.
You've got the points there to just duplicate your balloon character. And not even still hit the 1,000-point limit there.
I just don't think you should though. That's my take from it. One thing I was interested about you listening. I was surprised about this. Obviously, we've talked cafe since they come out. That you didn't include many of the spirit or any of the spirit lanterns. I don't think, did you?
No, it's just points. Like with a point where I think I want to put models on the table.
Yeah,
no dragon.
Yeah. So the Spirit Lantern Jack, I don't know if you've read the book, is it's an uncommon item that you can give sergeants in just the basic troops, and it gives the entire unit terror.
Oh, how much does that cost?
25 points. You can give it everybody.
Okay, so you can basically make yourself immune to give yourself a good part of immune psychology effectively for 25 points a unit.
Yeah, and make other stuff run away when you charge. Yeah.
I guess I think one of the interesting things from the event I was at is there was a lot of Mexican standoffs with infantry units where everyone was like, well, like me with my best 2 I was like, well, I really want you to charge me because I've only got 5 attacks from my front rank, but if I can use my second rank as well, that's actually pretty terrifying. And then other people started sitting there going, well, I want to use my second rank of attack. So like it'd be interesting.
Nobody charges.
They're still trying to figure out that way of forcing people to charge, or getting yourself enough buffs to make the charge worth it for you. So
that's where the match play guide comes in, and having objectives on the middle line
Yeah.
So one of you gets effective, one has to charge you, or you lose on points. Yeah. So I was up against Matt in game 1 with his Wars of the Sea.
Very beautiful army.
Absolutely stunning army.
Yeah, one best painted as well.
So he has a giant, couple of Chaos Spawns, Nurgle, a Lord on a Manticore. There's a block of Marauders hiding behind here somewhere. And then he's got 2 sets of 4 Skin Wolves and a unit of a couple units of Marauder Horsemen.
Yeah, so the gigantic spawn that we can see to the right of the floating hills,
Yeah.
is that the old Elemental of Beasts? No.
It's a print version of something.
Yeah. It looks a bit like the old Elemental.
It does a little.
You're missing the most important unit, Liam.
Those 5 Chaos Warriors.
Those 5 Chaos Warriors behind that wood.
To win that challenge. So Matt went first, and this was the end of turn 1. He kind of ran forward. This is
what my plan was to do, firstly.
Look down there in the background.
So he ran forward. I kind of took defensive positions up, took a few wounds off, bits and bobs with cannon fire, slowed down most of this section here by shooting the cannons.
That was another shock when he's like, "Oh, you're -2 movement because my cannons exploded near you."
Yeah.
What?
And can't twist rider.
Yeah.
And there you can see the column of crystal, which is in the middle of where the Chaos Lord wants to go. So he was not picking that fight anytime soon. A couple of turns later,
if you look at Matt's list, it's not, it's not one of these infantry heavy army lists that you think we're going to be seeing now, where it's sort of set up to be captured objectives. I guess it's still, the Marauder Horsemen they're still pretty good, but it's never going to win weight of number type.
Exactly.
He did say after the event as well that he's definitely changed the way he's going to start writing lists, and he's actually gone out and bought some Dark Oaths to make Marauders as well, more Marauders, because I think a lot of the Chaos armies struggled with it, because they're so expensive. They're like core elite units that just don't die to a stiff breeze. They just don't have the models.
Yeah, that's my one worry with the Nurgle, is that the Plague Bearers are so expensive. Your core is probably only 20 to 30 models max. So trying to be similar sort of issues of trying to actually capture things. But
I think this was roughly the start of my Sentinels rampage. So he single-handedly won me game 1.
So he's got the multi-wounding monster slayer thing, right?
Yeah. So there was a unit of Skin Wolves here that bounced off this unit of Jade Warriors, and he went in, killing blow 2 of them. Off they ran. My Lantern was running around trying to be annoying. The toughness 6 targets aren't the best choice, but as we've said here, Matt didn't have a load of actual prime targets for it. When the combat reformed over this way, redid the column of crystal in the middle of the board. This was positioned so it stopped anyone getting into the front of those Jade Warriors. Again, continued
just there raging at the column of crystal.
It's a grudge.
He went into the Lancers with his Lord and some Skin Wolves. Over on the bottom side, you've got the giant cast one of Nurgle and 2 units of Marauder Horsemen went into these Jade Warriors, and that combat continued until the Warriors won.
I'm laughing because I sat and watched that just disintegrate to 15 dudes.
If we don't kill it, we kill very little. It took me 4 rounds of combat to kill anything, but the giant cast spawn only having AP1 means that the Jade Warriors are just ignoring over half of its actual damage output when it's hit and wounded. I think at this point the giant charges the flank of a Sentinel, and he Monster Slayers the Sentinel. The Monster Slayers a giant. And then turns around, charges the giant cast spawn, Monster Slayers that. And then turns back around and goes into the other giant chaos spawn.
Did your balloon die to
And
the giant?
Monster Slayer's that.
The
The
balloon's still
balloon.
there.
No,
Oh, the
balloon's
balloon's
still there,
hiding
look at the
again.
top.
Okay. So
It
I've seen a
went-
lot of people saying balloons aren't a problem. They're close order and a really big base. They're really hard to maneuver.
They are. This was like 2 turns later, I think. It was literally my last turn 6, YOLOing it over there to get in range to try and kill those 5 Chaos Warriors. Plus to get deny the domination points and pick them up myself. I think at this point the Chaos Lord was like weapon skill 9, 8 attack, but also stupid. So he refused to charge anything for 2 turns at the end of the game.
Oh, we failed this stupidity twice.
So that helped. But yeah, it was kind of over from turn 4 when the Sentinel started his rampage.
Yeah.
And
he just pulled back 1,000 points himself.
Yeah. I've said a few places, it's very Marmite in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah,
But
I don't like it.
I would not have won that game if I had a second balloon instead of the Sentinel. So I think it's just one of the times where taking a more rounded list helps out. And obviously using a new GW scoring 6-0 system.
Yeah.
That one ended up as a 6-0 to myself with a load of points coming from domination at the end.
Yeah, because I think we worked out it's a 1440 point swing if you hold them all, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, it's not. It's 2,000, isn't it? It's 2,000 points.
It's a massive amount, either way.
Something silly like that, yeah. Or is it? No, it's 1,000 points, sorry, because it's 250 for each quarter, isn't it? Yeah. But no, if you hold all 4 objectives every single turn, it's 1440 you score. If you on the 4 strategic location one.
Game 2 into James, who I haven't seen for about 10 years. Used to play War Machine and Hordes.
Such a top guy.
Yeah.
Lovely lad, bloke.
He is. And he was playing some of his first games of Warhammer the Old World. He said this was maybe game 10 for him. And you can see what Dan mentioned earlier about the Shugengan not fitting nicely anywhere. He doesn't fit into that gap. So the empty base at the moment is the Shugengan Lord. A very similar kind of deployment. It kind of followed this pattern for most of the weekend because I was same table, same side. They didn't want to move. And James moved forward. The Lantern went forward and killed the unit of horsemen.
Were you rolling for table sides, Liam?
Yeah. Most people don't want to move, and I definitely didn't want to move.
Yeah.
And then the skeleton, so I killed a skeleton horseman. I slowed down most of his army because it was all in roughly the same place. So again, pop the Swiss Ride, the no fly banner here into my turn 2. Everything was -1 or -2 in that bubble around that impassable terrain. The skeleton chariots charged for a lantern and died, which they kind of do, which can just kill things. And then I opened fire after James had failed to close the distance because army it's actually really good when they fly banner into Tomb Kings because it stops them the big things marching as well.
Yeah, because I think the dragon only moves 2, I think.
More than that, but it didn't get to move very far.
Yeah, but
especially because sometimes you'll have them behind other units, be like, "Oh, just fly over those, it's fine," and then suddenly end up stuck behind infantry or other monsters.
I think this is the only time I actually double fired most of my artillery. Usually I was saving it for misfire because it was protected.
You tried it against me, Dan, and rolled 1 misfire and then rolled the second misfire for his second shot.
Classic Empire player.
Yeah. But because I thought they were going to be on me a lot quicker, I decided I'll just take turn 2 to unload.
I think that's definitely the situation you do when you've got 3 flying dragons, monster things flying at you. 4.
Dragons are 2 things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I left the Hierophant on 1 wound after everything. Both my fire rain rockets hit wounded and rolled a 1 on the d6 wounds.
Yeah, d6 damage.
So spiky sometimes. But in effect here, the lantern following turn went over here and kind of stayed around here, slowly throwing bombs at everything that looked at it remotely funny. And I eventually pushed forward to try and pick a fight with things when I thought I'd delayed it enough. Again, it was illusion magic, really played great. Again, it's one of the things where you start 9 inches away and you just throw 3 spells at it and one of them goes off.
Yeah, and I guess the good thing about illusion is, although it's high casting, magic res has very little impact on these sort of
doesn't on the column at least.
So everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to take a wizard, I'm just going to put magic resistance on my units, and you're suddenly like, great, they're not, you can't counter the spell.
They've
got no wizard, and the magic res doesn't make it any difference.
Yeah, they don't affect the unit, do they? They just affect things around them. Or the caster himself. Yeah.
So as long as you can roll, consistently high, and your casting values, you're pretty good.
I think in the James's last turn, he only had the block of skeletons and the Tomb King left, who went into these warriors. I won combat, but not by enough that James took any damage with Indomitable. And I kind of weighed it up and decided not to put my Lord in. I just put the cavalry in the flank to issue a challenge and deny any real combat res. And I won the combat quite big and left the Tomb King on 2 wounds after everything. Whereas if I put my Lord in and just accepted the challenge, knowing he wasn't going to kill me, I might have actually killed him. But swings and roundabouts, I ended a 5-1 because I gave away basically nothing, but didn't kill as part of 800 points of his list.
It's tough against Tomb Kings anyway, though, isn't it? Because it just either comes back or it's just hard to kill because there's lots of them. Yeah.
So that lad's first tournament there on the right.
No, he was with his
dad.
Yeah.
He'd had enough of seeing lanterns.
Clearly going well. Actually, I think he was playing Brian that game.
He was, yeah.
So, yeah. I think he's probably mirrored his dad's emotions at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Game 3, I was in.
Yeah, so you took very little damage in that game.
Yeah. Game 3 into Michael, and he's Primal War Herd Beastman. So this was a list with a level 4, level 3, and 3 level 1s. You really like hugging the Herdstone and firing Viletide at people. So luckily I had this bit of terrain in the middle that meant I could hide a good chunk of my army from Viletide. And also this impassable terrain here that my lantern could move out, shoot, and move back behind again if it needed to. Pretending it's a Tau battlesuit from 2001.
Yeah, I think this obviously with the Beastman General still being relatively new, people are still figuring out where to place the headstones, and I made the sort of similar mistake against you, whereas I put it quite a bit further back than I probably should have, knowing that you are very much a defensive army. If he'd placed it in those woods, or just outside the other side of it, it becomes a very different game then. Where...
Even just 5 inches forward, like you say, where it's touching the wood, and it would have been great. He had I forgot to take a picture at the start of the game, but he had a unit of 4 Dragon Ogres, which came through his cap. And the Sentinel and the Lancers went in. Didn't do loads of damage, but did enough to, I think I killed 2 of them between them, and lost quite a few of the Lancers, but not all of them. Annoyingly, I didn't hit anything on the overruns, but he killed just enough.
Was this the game where you just had the banner guy riding around?
Yeah. He ran that way. Yeah.
We had similar in our game, whereas I Viletide everyone off apart from the last one, like basically turn 1, and then there's this one guy running around trying to like stress my people out, charging wolves and just getting beaten by wolves.
His morale boosting, and he's like, "Look, lads, follow the banner. Let's go."
He's still there. Over on the left-hand side, we had the BSB on a chariot, fighting against a unit of Jade Warriors with his couple of what was called Razor Gore in tow, the bugs. Eventually, I was able to grind out the combats with the Lord, and he went and did his bits and bobs. And
that's probably, I think a lot of time these sort of chariots and stuff with first charge, a lot of people will get drawn in, and then a lot of these elite infantry have stubborn and that sort of stuff. So that first charge doesn't actually really come into play because it doesn't actually matter for you on that first turn, because you just go, okay, I'm just gonna pop my stubborn, or I still outnumber you massively, so the odds are you're not actually going to beat me there that much combat res.
And then I just kind of marched these up in changes into marching column and ran them up to take the Hearthstone away. I was fed up with all the bonuses for casting. So my Hearthstone didn't get that cast. And towards the end of the game, say we had a big spike where the balloon took 6 wounds from a Vartide. But apart from that, wasn't really in any trouble because he had to split the Vartide between the Sentinel and the Lantern, and just didn't run out of wizards before I ran out of wounds.
Yeah, I was talking to Liam when we were playing our game and sort of saying how actually it's really quite hard using those single character wizards against things like balloons, because you think you're within 3 inches and protected by the infantry, and then the next moment the balloon's flown over and you're suddenly the closest target, and it actually makes them really hard to protect them. So unless you want to throw them into the unit, but then obviously your arc is suddenly drastically decreased. So it's going to be interesting sort of going forward to sort of, as we probably going to see more of these balloons appearing across tables, actually trying to take those into sort of tactical thinking, and Jarrow spamming and that sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how you protect those. Where you have to have 2 units and then sort of sandwiched in between, but then obviously your sort of firing arcs are suddenly drastically reduced unless you're against large targets. So another challenge to start thinking about as a sort of casting heavy army.
Yeah, over the course of the game, I kind of ran it all out, and I think there was very little left by the end. I'd lost not a lot because, like I say, the guy with Standard Bearer eventually went down in maybe turn 6 with my.
I think he Vile-Tied him, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
He get more chance of killing that one guy and getting the points rather than doing the last 3 or 4 wounds to the Lantern. That ended up as 6-0 as well. And overnight yellow jersey. Into day 2, and I was up against the 3 balloon for Shugengan variety of cafe. Brian had also managed to score 17 points on day 1.
Yeah,
we were ready for this. We both thought about it overnight, and we both had 6 drops lists, and I won the roll off for who could deploy first. So it we talked about it afterwards, and whoever won that roll off was always going to deploy first, and not scout.
+1.
Whereas the second person, whoever lost it, would then get to scout because they were probably not going to take it anyway. It didn't make a difference to the roll. And then Brian said, "Well, let me know what for the beat to go first," and I rolled a 6, so you can't beat a 7.
No.
And it was one of those games which could have gone really wrong, but I had a little bit of luck where I needed it, and I kind of understood how to limit the balloon's impact. So
I think everything that needed to go your way went your way. It's right, probably. Fair to say. I think
I didn't take any pictures at all after this one.
No,
engrossed in the game. But effectively, turn 1, first thing I do is pop the banner. So with no flying for Brian. My Lantern moves up to about here, and that is within 9 inches of that Lantern. 12 inches outside of 12 inches of Eastern. My Shugenga moves up next to it as well. And I basically fire everything into the first Lantern to kill it. But because of the impact from the cannonballs, these balloons are now movement -1 because they can't fly, which means that because I'm outside of 12 inches, they can't charge. You can't shoot me.
Shoot or charge, yeah.
Yeah. So one of his Shugengans comes into the side of my balloon.
I assume movement's capped at 1 though, right?
No.
No.
Yeah.
The ruling is you are -1 to your movement characteristic.
Is it not somewhere in the main rulebook that says characteristics are capped at now?
Nope.
Maybe. But it doesn't make any difference in this.
No, yeah, it's
going to say either of you were both doing it, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
Even if they were, you'd both been using the same rule, so you knew what the
Shugengan
was.
comes into the side of my lantern after Brian's popped his banner. I take the charge, obviously. We actually made a mistake here, and I was under the impression that you couldn't stand and shoot in the flank. Realistically, it made very little difference if we played it that way for the entire game. And we both knew what we were doing from that one, but it meant that I didn't fire and flee because I'd have fled off the board, going through all my own units. But it meant that when I lost that combat, I could come backwards, and Brian wouldn't be able to catch me. It protected my own balloon from retaliation. Turn 2, my Shugengan went in and killed this lantern. So
his character lanterns, or are they just
one character lantern and 2 normal ones?
So they're a bit easier to shoot through the non-character ones.
And because I wasn't shooting at the lanterns with the cannon, I kind of slowed down the advance of his Shugengans. Took maybe 6 or 7 wounds off a combination of them. And then kind of stayed roughly in my place. This sentinel went to run after these guys and eventually caught them on like turn 4 or 5. Lantern eventually came back and killed a Shugengan and most of this warrior block by itself. The Jade Sentinel was still alive at the end of the game, just running around throwing fireballs, but didn't do any real damage, just kind of chipped away.
He actually used the Jade one, didn't he?
Yeah. But the last turning point of the game was the 3rd Lantern come over here behind my unit of Jade Lancers, ready to start bombing cannons off the table. But that same turn, these 2 Shugengans on the top right hand side had attempted to charge into the Lancers. Only one made it because no swift stride, -1 movement, and actually challenged out. I won the combat. It meant that this is one of the bits that Dan was talking about. So he gave ground. I passed my leadership test using Harmony special rule from the Lantern, from the character. Did a 180 and was able to charge his Lantern, which obviously off the board when he lost that combat. So I dealt with all the threat of the Lanterns, and I was just basically slowly chipping away with Shugengans.
Yeah, and those Shugengans are never going to win combats on themselves against those blocks, right? And
my Shugengan Lord, with his actual magic weapon and regen save, was picking on the ones that were left over from Brian's.
Yeah, the generals don't kill a lot, do they? It's the Lord that does all the damage when you tool him up right. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, really. And at the end of this game, I'd had a couple of turns of picking up objective points, and Brian had been pushed off or ran out of models to contest those. So I ended up with a slight bonus for the scenario as well.
Yeah, so I was just getting incremental updates from Dan and Liam throughout the event, and I assumed Liam had lost this game. Having seen sort of the lists and didn't really hear anything. He didn't sort of say, "Oh, win the game." So going into game 5, I thought Liam had lost this game. So it was quite interesting to
I think Liam just obviously got the look, but also played it better as well.
I'm
doing it. Yeah,
I'm fairly sure that 80-90% of winning that game was going first.
Yeah, he said that to me. Like it depends on who goes first.
Yeah. I think you both said that Saturday night, didn't you?
Yeah, we both knew.
You knew you were going to play each other. Yeah,
but games like this though makes me think that the the one use, fly banners for Beastmen, and Brett's are actually
still
still
be useful.
actually maybe worth it.
The problem is with the Beastman one, Jack.
You still got to roll leadership test.
Not necessarily that. It's you can stop them from flying, but you've not got the ranged output to deal with them.
Yeah.
Whereas
but you use their one turn 2 in the mid table, and you Valtide in range. Then that's when you
run at them
one
and charge them afterwards. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of it for that game. Into game 5 against Ogres, and probably the army you least expect to find on table 1 event against Singe, who I played last week, week before.
With different army though, didn't it?
Yeah. So again, very similar deployment. There's definitely a pattern forming. I put my lantern over to one side behind the terrain. He had 2 iron blasters. I was very much trying to stop it from shooting, but I kind of wanted him to shoot it.
Yeah.
He didn't fall for the trick and shot my artillery instead. Killed one of my cannons before it got to fire, but luckily his second iron blaster misfired, which meant my fire rain rocket survived. Kind of a slower game, this one. Singe went up quite early on in point with that first lucky shot, and having an awful lot of units who can contest the strategic location spore. So he was picking up 90 points from turn 1 with him going first, which was absolutely a nightmare, because it meant that even in my turn 1, he was up by best part of 500 points.
Yeah, so his list is basically Noblars, cannons, and Mournfang, right?
Yeah, 4 big units of Noblars.
Obviously the block of fat lads in it, because they're
compulsory. You're not doing renegades, are you? Then
no, we didn't this one.
No. Move up. Kind of just get into position. The Sentinel gets its armor save reduced and peppered by Noblars, and eventually that starts to take its toll. On the left hand side, my cannon and lantern killed the first of the ogre cannons. He's over on this side, the Shugengan Lord and the cavalry kill this unit of Mournfang. And then, but he failed his reform test. I'd already used a Stone and Harmony on those. And as you can see down here, the Noblars charge in and takes a couple of turns, but I get out of it, go and kill the second cannon. And at this point, this is about 90 shots a turn coming into the Sentinel from Noblars, who get 2 shots each.
The multi-shots too, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're throwing trash.
My favourite was in one of Rob's river events when there's a poisonous river and I had my Noblars sat in there just throwing out a shed load of poison shots.
Yeah, they eventually brought him down.
Oh, really?
So those Noblars over the weekend killed like a Tomb King on a Dragon, a Bloodthirster, and a Sentinel. Don't let anyone tell you the rubbish.
For 2.5 points
working hard.
Yeah. Over on the right-hand side, right-hand flank, I pushed these Noblars off the objective, which was quite a cool thematic battle. And then I ran away from the ogres, thinking I would save a load of points, but didn't run away far enough in turn 6 and died. So I gave up like 200 points for no good reason. But by this point, my Shugengan was back over on this side of the battlefield as well. Had charged into this ogre level 4 and killed him. The balloon had bombed off the rest of the ogres here, apart from the BSP, who I had one turn to shoot at the end and didn't hit with a single shot from point blank range. But win some, you lose some. And come the end of the game, the 2 Sabertusk Pass had killed 2 of my war machines.
Oof.
Yeah. So they comfortably made back their points.
Yeah.
And I won that game 4-2 in the end. It was only a victory of about 550, 600 points. Finch played incredibly well.
Yeah.
But we got there. And end result was picked up a victory.
Jack.
As you can see, I was so shocked because I thought he was, Brian was going in to win the event, having beat Liam game 4. But so when Liam was,
it felt a bit awkward giving him the award at the end. So I'm like, this is clearly going to look a fix now.
But yeah, really pleased with the army. Really happy that it was by no means the worst list there in terms of being a nightmare.
Earlier on, it's a very balanced list.
Shooty list.
We're not used to seeing balanced lists winning events.
What I will say is, I know a lot of there's been a lot of things said on Facebook and stuff about certain lists that was there when I posted up the best painting awards and stuff. So we had a conversation about this, Liam, didn't we? About the combined arms as well. How we don't think it actually changes a lot of the lists that are there. It probably punishes 2 of the lists, I believe, that were there.
Yeah.
With the spam, but they were nowhere near any of the top tables. So I don't necessarily think the whole spam thing's a big thing now the game's changed. Maybe back when it was just kill stuff, absolutely. But now because so there was a list there with was it 10 gyrocopters?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
How did the ethereal?
I'll be back in 1 second, guys.
Yeah.
Probably.
That one was like 20 spirit, the first raves, or whatever it was.
Yeah, so the first, it was 15, I think. So the first game he got paired into Tomb Kings, which obviously doesn't run away, so no issue there. And then I think the second game, he ended up playing the demons.
Yeah.
So like, just BCP did him dirty there because I think, and then I think he played Tomb Kings again, maybe the 4th game, and then played my mate Dan with Bretonians on the last one, which again all had magic weapons and stuff. So I think it just requires you will, I mean, like you say, you will fail a terror test at one point, but it depends. I think it depends if you go first as well, because you're only going to be moving 6 inches, 8 inches, 6 inches anyway.
You used to be able to charge them when they're still close enough to the table edge.
And even if you fail, most of the stuff that will be in your grill is cavalry, so it's just going to get away from you anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure it worked the way maybe he thought it was going to work because of where he was. I think he finished lower mid-table maybe at the end for a couple of wins. But yeah, the whole spam thing is you can't do it now. You can't spam like the gyrocopters because they don't hold objectives. So they're not unit strength 10. Yeah, they'll do all right in domination ones, but
yeah, that was my issue when I played against Liam, and I was sort of taken 4 Razor Gore, which used to be sort of the start of my army list, and then they used to be really good for they had multiple purposes, but now those points are needed for scoring units.
You need at least 15 plus infantry in each squad now, just because if you're fighting against something that can shoot and you lose, usually you MSU aren't you, so you're 10 models, you lose a model, you're practically useless at that point then. So I think the shift in lists has definitely changed now with this match play guide, which I like.
Do you think you saw that in this, or do you think you'll see that in the next event?
No, I did. People, I think, because again,
there's been a little bit.
I'm obviously not bashing Rob's event, but because people didn't necessarily have the books hand or didn't have any pre knowledge of the missions and how they would play, I think you did see, like you say, your meta lists where obviously you actually wrote your list to the event. I think because people have had that 2 week in between release date and obviously my event, or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, so you sure you're not 54 then?
But I kind of this point I want to make as well. Like with Cafe, obviously Russ won an event the same weekend with a even more spammy list than Brian's. But there's 2 things I think have played part of that. One is not that people can't deal with Cafe, so it can't deal with Cafe with their current collections.
Yeah.
And same things like Tomb King armies aren't taking Screaming Skull catapults, or aren't maybe taking caskets, that kind of thing, because they've not been meta for a while.
Yeah.
But actually, you need some ranged output that can touch things. And at the same time, people's model collections, especially if you bought an army new into the game in Old World with the intention of doing events, you won't have painted blocks of infantry at this point. Whereas as a cafe player, I have no choice but to go and get blocks of infantry.
And
because it's one of the two options I've got.
Some people have now missed the made to orders for things that they might have bought, knowing the state of game it is now. So it's some of those things won't even be available.
Yeah, I'd like GW to do another run of all of the made to orders, because I think, again, I know we're going to do an actual episode on the match play, but I think the complete shift in how you play the game due to this one rule set and book, and obviously the FAQ as well, like it's two different ends of how you play it now. I mean, I think well, what I will say, Ross, who finished third, he played Brian, I think it was game 4, and I was just sat there, I was like, oh my, I think Ross had
game three,
yeah, sorry. So Ross had a Warpfire Dragon left and a was it a Exalted Champion on a Dragon left after like turn 2? Because Brian had just bombed the hell out of him. Yeah, he just murdered all of his units.
Because Ross is more of a traditional style.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So
while we're just talking through this, while we're talking through it, I've got a bunch of slides with best painted.
Oh yeah,
people on this, so we can just look at those while we talk through these last 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the Jarrus bomb.
There it is. Yeah.
So it's artillery with some range in front of them, and then Jarrus.
That is roughly the entire list.
Yeah. Which
I like this layer on a crashed Jarrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't hold objectives, and that's what happened, I think, in this objective-based games.
That is.
That's James's. That's Brian's son, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian's actual list.
Yeah.
And that was Ross's.
That's Ross's, yeah. Okay. All of that died, bar the Warpfire Dragon and the big one in the middle, Jack, after 2 turns. That's how horrific those balloons are.
Yeah, and like you look at those balloons and you think, AP1, like how do they get through nights? But yeah, I guess
that's how you kill Terminators, isn't it? Throw enough dice at them, they will fail.
Yeah.
There you go, Arcane Journal.
So he'll be excited. He'll be excited about that. Arcane Journal.
Yeah, I think Joe had a pretty rough time because he was very slow, but I think he got rough matchups as well, where he got a lot of shooting. Demons, I love this army.
Yeah, really nice great.
Well. Yeah, I like the paint scheme of these. Like really,
really nice army.
You don't tend to, usually just see
he did
bright
quite
red.
Well, actually. I think, didn't he, Liam? I think he did.
Well, that was table 2. It was on taking that picture.
Yeah. John's, these are our local players. Quite a generic one. Singe.
Yeah,
I do like the concept of that
army. James, who I played, and his Tomb Kings.
I like the Scorpion's back. That's cool. Like a JD.
Yeah.
Luminescent.
Glow.
Iridescent is the word I think I'm looking
for. Pete's Vampires, which are made from so many different models over the years.
What are the ogres in there? Are they crypt horrors?
Spirit House.
Spirit House.
But yeah, like Chaos Warrior.
Proper hobby,
Grave Guard. Yeah. Michael's Beastman.
That's a cool headstone.
Yeah, it is.
That looks awful.
You painted it.
That's an absolute idiot. Yeah, that's the commission I did for Carl.
Pete.
Got a vote.
Your vote, Dan.
Your vote. More high elves. This is a Shracing.
Yeah, I think he finished the highest Force of Fantasy. I think it was 4th, if I remember rightly. So he did quite well with that list. Yeah,
Yes,
and
quite
it
cool.
looks nice.
Kells, Tomb Kings. Again, look, no, outside of the two caskets, very little range output.
Mm-hmm.
So again, no way of dealing with the quick moving balloons easily. And Plutonians.
He found out what Bombards did in this weekend, and that's blow up.
80s Orcs and Goblins.
See, I think
I think Orcs and Goblins is going to be one of the armies that you don't really see
I was
any
about to
major
say that.
change
Yeah,
to.
they've got things to deal with you. With
It
like
looks
the
like
and
an actual army, though, doesn't it?
And going from edition 1 to edition 1.5, I still think they're exactly I don't think anything's changed in the Orcs and Goblins army.
Yeah, no.
More goblins, more like goblins.
Yeah.
Tony Tiles, facing in every direction possible to get a brilliant picture.
Yeah.
And Matt Baker's was received at one Best Painted.
Yeah, it is.
And you said that was a bit of a landslide, didn't you?
Yeah. Was there many baggage trains and objectives, people scoring objectives that people have brought themselves, or did you?
A few people have brought. I'd made quite a few anyway, but yeah, a few people brought their own, which is nice. There are no baggage trains, obviously. I weren't using them, but we are going to be using in a couple of events' time. Yeah, I mean, just to cap off, I'm a bit wary of time, so not that long. It was the first weekend event I've run for an old world, and I mean, literally, it was actually a pleasure to because everybody was sound, and like I say, even though it was relatively new, I wasn't getting bombarded with questions because it was just a case of, we'll just read the FAQ. We'll read, and that's what I said at the beginning, wasn't it, Liam? Like, if you can't sort it out on the table with the FAQ or the new rules updates or anything like that, then call me over and I'll make a call. So it ran really smooth. I think I maybe one or two tables where they just some confusion with wording and interpretations, which I had to make a call of. But in terms of rule, I think it actually did run really smoothly and wasn't necessarily called into action that often. It was just really hot, wasn't it?
One of the issues with the FAQ was that so many things got changed. You had to check up every rule.
Yeah.
Not knowing if that
Well, this is it. This is what I said to
affected or not.
Yeah, well, this is what I said to the guys at the club. Like, they're all worried about the FAQ. I went, listen, just play the game, and if the FAQ, something comes up in the FAQ, then that's when you look at it. Don't go through it all, because nothing. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to get all the 70 odd pages of whatever it was of FAQ rules in one game. You might get one or two things. The one thing you'll definitely get is the fighting in extra rank, because that's your combat, which you all know about anyway.
Numbers and
so it's all the other stuff that I think a lot of people. I think it was because it was such a big document. I think it flustered a lot of people, didn't it? Which made sense. It would do so. Yeah, so it was a good event. And have we not got a final picture, Liam?
No, that's it.
Well, guess who won the event? Yeah, Liam won.
I've been on the screen for 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah, didn't have him. It was just the trophy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I did take photos.
Didn't have Liam's bashful.
Didn't quite make the cut, that one. No, well done, Liam. Well played, and I think as well you did it in the right manner and not taking 47 balloons.
Yeah, so me and Jack got another event in 2 weeks' time, or a week and a half at this point. Like, do I try and get another balloon, or just take? Yeah, I'm deciding. I probably won't. I'll probably just take the same list and try and finish off with a couple of units I've not painted.
And now I'm worried that I need to bring a lot of ranged offense, which demons also don't have. So,
do you want to borrow my cafe, Jack? You just have to paint.
Not painted. Yeah.
I'll paint it for you, Dan. Don't you worry. I'll contrast the hell out of that.
Right, we've got a minute, so I think we best say goodbye and all the YouTube stuff. Jack, you're good at this. Go on, YouTube it quickly.
Like, follow, subscribe. Keep us growing.
Comment down below.
Comment down below. Tell us what you'd like to see.
Anything. Yeah.
Put some hate for Cafe. We love it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
See you later, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. End recording.